can you go to jail for burning an American flag? Well, as of this Monday, there is a chance. That's because President Donald Trump signed an executive order for prosecuting people who burn the American flag. Now, to be clear, it's technically not burning the American flag itself that's illegal, it's inciting violence by burning the American flag. But it doesn't really matter how they word the technicalities because this is a huge problem. And I love the American flag. I have designs around my room, and I even picked the flag as the design on my credit card. But the problem is that the government shouldn't be able to have the power where it can prosecute people just for making a statement. So when people burn the American flag, they're not necessarily hurting anybody. They're just making a statement that says, I don't like something about my country. I don't like what the government is doing. So if I decide to make some kind of statement where I hate the Constitution, so I rip the Constitution in half, and then after that, a mob forms, it's kind of up in the air, like, am I responsible that the mob was formed? Do I claim responsibility for inciting violence? I mean, it's basically up to the government to decide. It's up to these Department of Justice to decide. And I think it should be clear from the Constitution that in America we have freedom of speech. We can criticize the government. We can criticize people in power. We have the ability to say anything, even if we may not have the ability to necessarily be heard. But we have the ability to criticize the government. And this new executive order leaves it up to the government to decide what is and what isn't okay. You shouldn't just have to take my word for it, because the Supreme Court has already decided that burning the American flag specifically falls under freedom of speech. So a little bit of a history lesson. There actually was a law called the Flag Protection Act of 1968. And for context, this was going on during the Vietnam War, which was one of the most unpopular wars in U.S. history, if not the most unpopular. And so, yeah, a lot of people were burning the American flag as a show of protest. And so the United States Congress passed this law which made it a crime to burn the flag. And this went on for decades until the Supreme Court struck down this ruling. There was a specific state Texas law which was struck down in Texas versus Johnson, and then later they struck it down nationwide, which is United States versus Ekman, which struck it down nationwide. If you're simply burning the flag as a statement, as expressing your opinion that you're unhappy with what the government is doing, or you're unhappy with the direction and state of this country, that's simply a way of expressing your speech, okay? And President Donald Trump, he acknowledged the ruling of the Supreme Court in the White House briefing. He said, no, burning a flag isn't freedom of speech, because it isn't speech, it's an act, it's something you do. Well, that's just crazy. I mean, speech is an act, talking is an act, doing something, anything is an act, and so now you can say, oh, well, freedom of speech doesn't protect you if you do something, only if you say something. Even though the government can pretend like this is a national security issue, that it's burning a flag, it's going to start all these mobs and it's going to cause all this disorder. It's my belief that what you do with your own property is your decision, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. So if you own a flag and you decide to make a statement by burning it, that's your decision. And I think there are some justifiable reasons for wanting to criticize many of the things that the government has done in the past, but also things that the government is doing right now, okay? So have respect for the flag when that's appropriate, but when it doesn't feel appropriate, the government can't get in your way, and it should not get in your way. And this new law that allows people to put you in jail for an entire year just for burning a flag, people on the left and the right should be able to understand that this is a huge freedom of speech issue. My name is Asher, and I'm going to be talking about some of the ways that the government is violating your rights right now in the news. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stick around.